New York City, June 27th, 2025. A straightforward conference appearance by Prince Harry detonated into a rolling, multi-platform drama today after a terse exchange over royal titles at the Nexus Global Summit spiraled into a story with legal, financial, and reputational shockwaves still rippling on both sides of the Atlantic. What began as an hour-long fireside chat scheduled for 10:05 a.m. at Pier 36S converted warehouse turned into an international symbol clash. Meritocracy versus monarchy, data versus deference, that consumed cable news chyrons, flooded social media timelines, and forced a scramble inside the Sussex communications team that seasoned public relations analysts are already calling one of the stiffest tests of the couple's post-royal brand since the 2021 Oprah interview. Prince Harry landed at Teterboro late Thursday aboard a Gulfstream chartered from NetJets, according to open flight tracking data reviewed by Bloomberg. At 9:47 a.m. Friday, a three-vehicle convoy rolled on a South Street and into a backstage security bay where Nexus volunteers in black polo shirts greeted speakers by first name, as is summit custom. Two volunteers later told Politico that the prince's brow tightened when a coordinator confirmed the no honorific protocol. That tension tapped a live wire. 18 months of litigation in London's High Court, where Harry's bid for automatic, taxpayer-funded police protection, K-Style R, Duke of Sussex, v. Home Secretary, was dismissed in February. The court ruled that RAVEC, the Royal and VIP Executive Committee, reasonably downgraded his security status after the 2020 Megxit departure. Tabloid cartoonists pounced on the ruling, portraying Harry as a man determined to keep the perks of royalty minus its obligations. Those caricatures loomed in the background as he stepped onto a stage designed to spotlight measurable social impact, not inherited identity. Inside the green room, according to two production staffers who spoke to the Washington Post on condition of anonymity, Nexus CEO Rachel Gerol extended a handshake and said, "Thanks for making the time, Harry." At 34, Gerol is the Iranian-American co-founder of Vertex Microgrid Partners, a $120 million blended finance vehicle underwriting resilient power systems across the Caribbean. A resume Forbes once summarized with the headline "Velvet Dynamite." Harry, multiple witnesses say, replied, "It's Prince Harry, actually." Without missing a beat, Gerol returned, "Great to have you, Harry." Both then walked onto the low riser, surrounded by LED wall graphics, showing real-time carbon offset tallies for Nexus member projects. Harry opened comfortably, echoing Archwell Foundation talking points: mental health advocacy for veterans, the power of storytelling, the need to humanize climate science. For minutes in, he pivoted. "We at Archwell don't simply connect," he said, voice amplified across the hall of 350 impact investors, NGO founders, and municipal bond innovators. "We create. We're not about talk. We're about transformation." The remark came with a light chuckle and a glance toward Gerol, whom he thanked for trying to catalyze change. He then added, "Numbers aren't the same as impact." To outside observers, that sentence might sound innocuous, but in a room where every speaker ends with a slide of hard KPIs. Lives saved, acres reforested, gigatons abated. Harry's rhetorical flourish felt like a barb. He implied the rest of us were counting beans while he was changing the cosmos, said a 29-year-old South African ocean plastic entrepreneur afterward, speaking to The Guardian. Attendees stiffened. Gerol, however, answered softly, "Here at Nexus, leadership is earned through service, not status. We measure outcomes, not airtime." She never employed his title, repeating only Harry, and the camera, broadcasting to a global livestream on YouTube and The Economist's digital hub, zoomed tight on the prince's face. Smile faltering, shoulders rising, fingers drumming the chair arm. Later that night, CNN's body language analyst Blanca Cobb called it textbook self-soothing in a status threat context. The collision of values. First name egalitarianism confronting centuries-old honorific tradition, triggered an online storm within minutes. Camilla Tominey, associate editor of the Daily Telegraph, tweeted at 10:23 a.m., "Most revealing Sussex moment since Oprah. Entitlement meets data." By noon Eastern, the hashtags #Rachel is right hashtag no more Prince, and hashtag ArchieFail led X trends of the US and UK. A meme of Gerol dropping an imaginary microphone, captioned, "We measure outcomes," accrued 2.4 million likes within 6 hours. BBC News cut into regular programming to carry a package titled Royal Rumble in New York, while America's NBC Nightly News opened with a 2-minute segment front-loaded with footage of Harry's reaction, looped in slow motion. Backstage, according to Washington Post sources and later confirmed by Reuters stringers on site, Harry paced a narrow corridor, face flushed, repeating, "She humiliated me." One communications aide, an Edelman veteran hired after the 2023 Spotify podcast debacle, drafted a statement characterizing the exchange as lighthearted. Another staffer suggested skipping the official summit group photo. A third insisted the prince set the record straight. Senior organizers eventually escorted the convoy through a service exit at 12:07 p.m., sidestepping paparazzi gathered near the main dock entrance, and Reuters moved an alert at 3:12 p.m. No apology planned, Nexus says. While SUVs merged into FDR Drive traffic, journalists opened spreadsheets. Nexus maintains a public-facing impact dashboard updated nightly. As of Thursday, the site listed 5,128 active initiatives, ranging from 83 affordable housing units completed in the South Bronx to 416 gigawatt-hours of microgrid electricity delivered to hurricane-prone islands since 2021, plus 31,000 PTSD teletherapy sessions for veterans across 3 continents. Archwell's own page, by contrast, featured stylized lilac infographics promising to uplift voices yet cited only a handful of numeric outputs. 10,000 meal kits with World Central Kitchen in 2022, 3,600 COVID vaccine doses facilitated through Global Citizen the previous year. IRS Form 990 returns compiled by ProPublica showed $3.2 million in total grants between 2021 and 2024, a respectable figure for a California private foundation, but dwarfed by Nexus's $13 million refugee STEM scholarship disbursement booked in FI 2024 alone. The optics clashed with Archwell's high-visibility entertainment deals. Netflix's 2020 development agreement, reportedly worth up to $100 million, produced one moderate hit, Heart of Invictus, but under-delivered on subscriber retention, per internal analytics leaked to Variety in March. According to company sources, Netflix executives had floated a behind-the-scenes Polo docuseries pitched as Drive to Survive on horseback, hoping to piggyback on the streaming boom in niche sports. Sussex Productions counter-proposed an Andean eco-tourism travelogue. Meeting stalled. Meanwhile, Meghan's lifestyle venture American Riviera Orchard mailed 50 jars of strawberry jam to influencers in April before posting radio silence. Page 6 joked the jars were rarer than Bitcoin, and fashion blogger Landra Medine called the launch crypto cottagecore without the currency. Across the Atlantic, comparisons sharpened. On the same day as the Nexus drama, Prince William attended the Duke of Westminster's society wedding at Chester Cathedral, staying through the reception despite Princess Catherine's chemotherapy. The Times splashed duty, not distance atop Saturday's edition. Flight tracking data showed Williams' aides booked economy seats on British Airways for the return leg, a point seized upon by social media satirists who paired Williams' itinerary with Harry's rumored backstage tantrum, tagging screenshots #RavecRewind, a nod to Harry's security appeal failure. The incendiary mix of backstage angst and public disdain drew blunt commentary. Piers Morgan tweeted, "He torches the crown for cash, then whines for his title when the room isn't buying." Pick a lane. Angela Levin, biographer of the prince's childhood, told the Daily Mail that Gerol had done what no Buckingham Palace courtier dared, confronted entitlement with facts. Even the center-left Atlantic's Helen Lewis declared Harry had walked into a meritocracy and demanded feudal dues. The Wall Street Journal editorial board, seldom fond of activist philanthropy, nonetheless praised Nexus for reviving the Roosevelt Square deal spirit. No special pleadings, no aristocratic exemptions. Archwell issued a 127-word statement to People magazine at 10:14 p.m. Friday, thanking Nexus for inviting the Duke and condemning misreporting. Observers noticed the pointed reintroduction of the formal title. Politico's Jack Schaefer deadpanned on X in crisis comms, "If you're explaining, you're already losing." Gerol, by contrast, posted 6 words on LinkedIn. "Productive week at Nexus. Impact ego. Onward." By Monday morning, her note had 88,000 reactions, among them likes from Melinda French Gates, Patagonia CEO Ryan Gellert, and BlackRock's sustainable investing head Tarek Fancy. Mainstream outlets widened their lens. The New York Times Styles desk ran a 1,400-word essay, "The Last Days of Tidal Inflation," quoting Nobel laureate Joseph Stiglitz on rent-seeking in celebrity philanthropy and referencing Thorstein Veblen's 1899 reflections on conspicuous leisure. Vox resurfaced Gerol's 2019 Medium Post warning that red carpet charity galas drain oxygen from community-led funds. Forbes updated its profile of the CEO, running the headline, "Velvet Dynamite Strikes Again," atop a photo from her 2024 tour of Dominica's hurricane shelter microgrid. Financial reverberations followed. GiveWell, the influential charity rating portal, recorded a 14% uptick in searches for Archewell effectiveness by Tuesday. Impact Alpha reported that a prominent West Coast family office put a proposed $1.5 million co-grant with Archewell on pause pending performance clarity. In Santa Barbara, foundation staff rushed to upload a new PDF summarizing their partnership with Chef Jose Andres' World's Central Kitchen. 50,000 meals in the wake of Turkey's 2023 earthquake. Legitimate, but to crisis management guru Eric Desenhall, speaking on MSNBC, the timing screamed defensive scramble. Polling data sealed the narrative. YouGov's U.S. tracker showed Harry's net favorability tumbling 8 percentage points in the first half of July, his fastest slide since the Oprah fallout. ABC's Good Morning America anchor Robin Roberts asked on air, "Bad day or pattern confirmed?" Harvard public policy professor Arthur Brooks told The Atlantic, "Reputation is compound interest. Hard-earned, easily blown." This was a giant withdrawal. Inside Archewell, Vanity Fair's Katie Nichol reported Meghan lobbying for calm, reminding Harry that Netflix might still greenlight a Polo project if spun as a mental health journey for wounded veterans. Harry's alleged reply, "Not after they laughed at my jam," went viral in meme form. Variety insiders said Netflix remained exasperated but hopeful. Corporate code foreshow us a redemptive arc. Disney, which distributed Meghan's 2020 elephant conservation documentary, politely declined to comment. Gerol, meanwhile, resumed her routine. Ford Foundation panel on climate resilient microinsurance Monday. Ezra Klein show podcast Wednesday, discussing decolonizing ESG metrics. Thursday, an unpublicized trip to Adjuntas, Puerto Rico, where Vertex is auditing solar storage installations. The Guardian's Latin America correspondent trailed her for a day. A local shopkeeper said, "She comes without cameras, checks the wiring, buys lunch for the crew." Broadcast producers scented long-form potential. BBC Panorama confirmed a September special, Sussex Incorporated, Profit, Purpose, or PR, featuring Nexus delegates and London think tank ethicists. One interviewee, a Kenyan drone mapper whose flood risk data underpins microinsurance rates in the Rift Valley, told The Economist, "RAF wings matter less out here than code that saves lives." HBO's Axios said it may revisit the Nexus episode in its series on celebrity philanthropy. Legal sparks crackled as well. A Sussex lawyer's letter accusing the son of defamatory exaggeration over Harry's backstage fury leaked to tabloids, sparking the hashtag #StreisandSussex hashtag. CNN analyst and royal confidant Omid Scobie called the coverage nuclear but flinched when Aaron Burnett asked why Archewell had not published audited impact metrics since 2022. Crisis comms strategist Lee Smith told Bloomberg TV, "When your critics can point to blank cells in your spreadsheet, shouting context doesn't work." By late July, donor circles were rumbling. A Silicon Valley founder who once praised the Sussexes as modern role models told Axios he was re-evaluating future collaborations. At the Aspen Ideas Festival, Tote bags emblazoned with impact ego appeared at a workshop on effective altruism. BlackRock's LinkedIn carousel used the same phrase to promote a white paper on transparent ESG reporting. The Nexus flashpoint reignited debate over Harry's security appeals. Legal scholars told The Independent that his second application to the Court of Appeal was now overshadowed by accusations of selective royalism, asking for Crown protections while downplaying Crown duties. The Guardian's op-ed headline, echoing Justice Peter Lane's February ruling, declared, "Personal choice comes with personal cost," drawing 40,000 comments in 24 hours. Buckingham Palace maintained its silence. A palace aide told the Times the standing line remained. Their Royal Highnesses no longer represent the Crown. Yet some Fleet Street pundits detected relief, suggesting the Sussex narrative may be losing altitude without palace intervention. Daily Mirror columnist Alison Phillips wrote, "The public sees through the empire of feel-good quotes. Sooner or later receipts must follow." Receipts became the watchword. In mid-August, Archwell retained San Francisco analytics firm True North Insights to build a public impact dashboard modeled on Nexuses. Whether the move will restore credibility is uncertain. Stanford philanthropy scholar Rob Reich noted in the Chronicle of Philanthropy, "Dashboards aren't silver bullets. Culture eats metrics for breakfast." Still, without visible data points, big-ticket donors may hesitate. Private email chains viewed by Axio showed at least 2 foundation directors debating risk-weighted reputational exposure of co-branding with Archwell. Few observers expect Harry to withdraw from public life. In September, he recorded a video for the Diana Awards ceremony, earnest and eloquent on youth empathy. He closed, "I'm Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex." Cameras captured polite applause and a few teenagers exchanging amused glances. Over at Netflix, executives leaked that a polo therapy series might pivot to a limited documentary on veteran equine therapy if producers secure genuine humility moments. PR analysts counter that humility cannot be scripted. Communication schools are already memorializing the saga. Columbia Journalism Review announced a fall case study titled Brand Collision at Pier 36, when titles meet KPIs. MBA ethics courses at Wharton have assigned the Nexus incident to illustrate stakeholder alignment breakdowns under the weight of celebrity identity. Boston University's College of Communication flagged the episode in its new syllabus on crisis escalation, a 5-second dispute mushrooming into global #warfare because core values, merit versus monarchy, sat in perfect opposition.